I would like to do at this time is to go through the instructions for the practice exercise on land evaluation, which I've assigned you. In your packet, you should have a sheet labeled Land Evaluation Example Situation Site Number 1. On that card or form, you will see the intended use is for a wheat pea rotation dry land. Also, information that would be given to you on the site card would be the original topsoil depth. In this case, it's 36 inches. The pH is 5.8. K for potassium is 180 parts per million. P for phosphorus is 7 parts per million. And N for nitrogen is said to be sufficient. Also included on the site card would be the date last flooded, in this case, 2/16 of 79. It tells us what the length of the growing season is, in this case, 120 days, and that we are in an area where we have 22 inches of annual precipitation. That is the information that you would typically find on a site card at a location where you were asked to evaluate that particular site for its intended use. What you would need to measure or evaluate at that location is what I've listed in the lower part of this example situation for site number 1. You would normally have to find this information or gather this information for yourself if you were at the site. But since this is a practice exercise, I've given you this information for the purpose of you using it to complete the land evaluation site card. The information that you would measure or evaluate is the surface soil texture. Now, we would do this surface texture by feel similar to what was demonstrated in a previous lab that you've already completed. The subsoil texture, in this case, would be a silty clay loam, whereas the surface texture is a silt loam. Now, what you need to do with this information is go back to your manual and see which of these textural groupings that puts that particular soil into, and then complete that section on your site card, or not the site card, but the intended land evaluation card. You would measure the slope at this location. In this case, for example number 1, we have a 12% slope. Depth of soil profile is 48 inches in this case. You would have to make that determination. You would indicate or would see that there were either stones or no stones evident at this site. Another observation that you might make if it were present, and I've indicated in this case you made this observation, is that there's a platy pan that was evident in the soil profile at 22 inches down from the soil surface. Roots were not evident below this point. In other words, you're looking at the soil profile and what you see is a platy type structure, and the roots pretty much flatten out at that level, and you don't see roots extending through this particular layer in the soil profile. The depth of the topsoil at the present time you determined to be 20 inches, and you do not notice or see any indication that the water table is evident within the depth of the pit at the soil site that you're examining. So with the information that is given to you on this form at the top that would be found on the site card, and in this case the information that you would measure or evaluate, I would like you to complete one of these cards that are in your packet, the land evaluation card. So take a few minutes to go through using your manual to complete this card, and then come back and watch the tape, the remainder of this tape, where I will go through and complete this practice evaluation site card with you. Thank you. Well, let's take a look at how we completed this example situation for site number 1, the Washington Land Judging Scorecard in this case. As we go through this, I'm going to be referring you to pages in the manual where you would look up or help or read some information that would help you to determine how to complete this scorecard.